Alrighty, in today's video we're going to talk about if Call of Duty YouTubers are actually cheating when they're trying to get their gameplay. And for a while I struggled on how I wanted to make this video because I'm an analytical person, so I like to try to give as many facts as possible and try to give objective data, because then you can draw your own conclusion. So if at any point you do enjoy the video, please remember to hit that like button. If you'd like to find your way back to the channel, since I typically do cover Call of Duty content, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with notifications on so you'll be able to find your way back. And like a lot of you guys out there, I actually watch YouTube pretty regularly, and obviously I have my go-to channels that I'll watch on a regular basis. Then there's the others that I just watch occasionally. And one of those occasional channels that I like to watch is 8 Thoughts. And I know that might surprise some of you guys, especially since I'm a Call of Duty YouTuber. Especially since he generally bashes Call of Duty and likes to stir the pot. But for the most part, it's just sarcasm and jokes to entertain his subscribers, which he does a pretty good job of in my opinion. But every once in a while, as a result of those actions, he ends up blurring the lines between fact and fiction, and for an audience it's very hard to tell the difference. And that's what kind of prompted this video, is because people started coming to my comments section saying I'm a cheater and I'm using the Cronus Max to get an unfair advantage. So that's obviously one example, but let's go ahead and talk about how cheats, hacks, and exploits work across PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. And I think the biggest issue in this area is misinformation from the community. I think people actually think you can wall hack and have aimbot on console, which is not the case. And for those of you unfamiliar what that looks like, here is some gameplay of people using wall hacks, aimbots, and cheats on PC. And the type of cheating and hacking you're currently seeing is not available on the next gen consoles. You go back to last gen, talking about PS3 or the Xbox 360, those things can definitely be hacked because they are no longer updated the same way the current next gen consoles are. And what protects console players is when you play a game like Call of Duty, you're connected to the online services of PlayStation, or in the case of Xbox One, through Microsoft. And to simplify the process as easy as possible, pretty much behind the scenes there's an authentication process that makes it so that hacks cannot work. And I'm not saying it's foolproof, but what ends up happening is maybe someone finds an exploit and they figure out how they can hack it. Then all of a sudden PlayStation finds out about it, they put out an update, and now the hack is removed. And that's pretty much it. There's this continual process of updating the console that is happening on a regular basis that is no longer happening on prior gen consoles. And that's why hacking is so rampant on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. Now we've had a chance to set that to the side, let's go ahead and talk about the Cronus Max. In case you guys are unfamiliar with the Cronus Max, basically a USB attachment that you plug into your PlayStation 4, your Xbox 360, your Xbox One. You can pretty much plug it into any console that has a USB input. So beyond cheating, the Cronus Max is actually useful for a few other scenarios. One of the primary uses is you'll see it at CoD World League events because it allows the players to connect their controllers wired instead of wirelessly. There's a lot of interference at these events because PlayStation controllers run off of Bluetooth, and to limit that Bluetooth interference, they use the Cronus Max to convert the controllers to a wired input instead of that Bluetooth connectivity. Some other uses for the Cronus Max are so that you could use alternative controllers on whatever platform you're on. So if you want to use an Xbox controller on the PlayStation and vice versa, you could actually make that swap using the Cronus Max, and no cheats are necessary. So now let's talk about how people can use the Cronus Max to cheat. And I think one of the easiest ways to explain this is to use a fighting game as an example. And let's say maybe you don't want to actually get good at the game. Maybe you just want to press a single button and it'll do an entire combo for you. So what you would do is log into the Cronus Max site, and then you'd look for the specific combination you're looking for, and then you program that in as a script so that every time you press a certain button, it would automatically do that sequence for that combo. So when you actually transfer that concept over to Call of Duty, what ends up happening is there's different things you can do, like drop shotting, quick scoping, anti-recoil, super aim assist, as well as rapid fire mods, also known as jitter mod. And depending on the game, you can get a bigger advantage than others. And if you know what to look for, it's definitely obvious. So right now what we'll do is go ahead and take a look at some gameplay from this. You can see they're using the rapid fire mod, anti-recoil, aim assist, whatever the case is. And these are the types of videos that pop up when you're looking for cheats for the Cronus Max. And you can see right here, it doesn't look natural. No one ever plays like this. And one of the things you'll notice immediately is that none of these people really strafe when they actually get into gunfights. And that's because it will throw off the aim assist that you're trying to artificially create. So now let's go ahead and compare that gameplay with some very popular YouTubers. In case you guys don't know who this is the Korean Savage. And you can see that he's not doing that ADS spam. He's strafing in all of his gunfights because that's how you take advantage of aim assist. In case you guys didn't know, there's two types of aim assist. There's ADS slowdown, which is a time of aim assist. Then there's rotational aim assist, which pretty much only works while you're moving, and that's why you'll see a lot of people that are really good at the game, they continue to strafe. You can see they do a little bit of left and right action so they can maximize that aim assist. So we'll actually take a look at another YouTuber's stats. You guys might be familiar with this guy. His name is Dysmo, and you're going to see when he gets in a gunfight, he does that exact same strafing motion without spamming that ADS. And if you watch any of my accuracy videos, I have about 3 or 4 of them on the channel specifically for Call of Duty Black Ops 4, you'll understand that rotational aim assist leads to sticky aim and allows you to be very accurate. And in case you guys didn't know, I do a ton of subscriber gameplays, and I've seen over 40 or 50 different people play, and the biggest downfall in their accuracy is they just do not strafe enough, or they have the wrong sensitivity. And all of these YouTubers that I'm talking about, they've been playing Call of Duty long enough to know the right sensitivity for them, and that they need to be strafing in these gunfights to maximize the aim assist. And now that we switch to another well-known YouTuber named Swagg, you can see that in every single gunfight he continues to strafe. He's not doing that weird ADS spam that we saw in those initial clips of those people using the Cronus Max or whatever the case is. He just strafes in the gunfight, lands his shot, controls the recoil the right way you're supposed to, and since he's getting that maximum aim assist through ADS slowdown and rotational aim assist, he's able to land his shots. So I know a few of you guys watching this are still probably very skeptical, so let's go ahead and jump into the actual data. So a while ago, Call of Duty actually made it so we can look at combat records either through the app or through the website, and that website is my.callofduty.com, and I'm gonna leave a link down in the description below. So if you want to check out yours and compare the stats, you're more than welcome to do that. So let's go ahead and look at these players that obviously look like they're cheating or something is going on, and they should have pretty amazing stats, right? If you're going to cheat, you might as well have some amazing stats. So you can see this guy is rocking that 1.15 EKIA. So clearly those cheats are working. And right here we got this guy playing Blackout, which we saw a little bit earlier. And we go ahead and look at this guy's stats. It's a little bit above average, but nothing to write home about. Right here he has a 1.77. And we're going to get into the accuracy stats as well. So the third guy that we already had a chance to look at, let's go ahead and look at it from 8Thought's perspective.
All right, this is a good one. You see how he's just shooting through the walls, man? It's just like he just left triggering. It came to see the field, but the aim assist is just, it pulls in. So he's just shooting at there. See how he keeps left triggering. See it. And also, if you don't have it up too strong, it's not super noticeable as well. Like, as you can see here, if I wasn't pointing this out, you just think this guy was a really good gamer, right? But I mean, he's openly admitting that he's using a Cronus Max with aim assist.
And you might actually think the guy is an amazing player, but let's go ahead and take a look at this guy's stats. He has a whopping 1.08 with a 233 score per minute. So yeah, like 8Thought said, that guy was a really good gamer, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at some other objective data, because I know I haven't convinced everyone here. I know I've made a few valid points, but let's go ahead and look at a little bit more objective data. So for this part, it took a little bit longer because what I had to do was essentially make a spreadsheet. I took a bunch of YouTubers, I looked at their accuracy with the Maddox, with the Switchblade, with the Titan, with the Auger DMR, and that's how we had a little bit of variety in the weapon types. I ended up compiling an average based off all those different categories. And then I also took a look at 8Thought's stats. Obviously, he has played on console, even though a majority of his time is spent on PC. So I know at first it's going to look like a lot of numbers, but then I'm going to point out a few areas that are particularly important. So if we focus our attention at the bottom line, you can see the average with the Maddox is 31%, Switchblade is 28, Titan is 28, and the Auger DMR is 35. And I actually want to point out a couple different lines for you. If we look at 8Thought's line, which is just above that black line towards the bottom, you can see that his accuracy with the Maddox is 31%, which you can see is very similar to K3, Dysmo, and Swagg. And when you start looking at all these other YouTubers and the different categories, the numbers really aren't that far off. So to be a little bit more thorough, I want to go ahead and look at the stats of the cheaters, as well as some random followers on Twitter. And pretty much all I had to do was say, hey, go ahead and leave your PSN and your gamer tag, and then I just took the first 13 so that I can have the same sample size as the YouTubers as well as 8Thoughts. So when you put all the information into a chart, this is how it ends up looking. Obviously there's a little bit of difference there, but it's not the difference you'd expect from someone who's actually cheating. I would expect someone who's cheating should have like a 40 or 50% accuracy. And the main reason for that is because then it'd be considered an outlier. If the stat is way too low or way too high, that tells you that something is a little bit off. And it becomes even more obvious what I mean by that when you actually include the cheaters. And yes, that green bar is the cheaters. I was actually surprised by this information. Went ahead and looked at it. I had to go back over it a couple times because I thought there was no way that someone can actually use cheats for accuracy and actually have worse accuracy. So overall, I think I did a good job of providing objective information so you guys can make the decision on your own, because there is no way to definitively tell if someone's cheating unless they tell you, or you're literally sitting right next to them and you see that there's no Cronus Max or any other peripheral that could be used for cheating. That's aside from people using keyboard and mouse. Obviously you could kind of spot what stuff looks like, and now you guys know what the Cronus Max looks like and how it looks different from regular gameplay, so it should be significantly easier for you to spot. This was definitely a different style of video for me, so hopefully you guys did enjoy it or found it helpful in some way. If you did, please remember to hit that like button. If you'd like to find your way back to my channel because you're actually looking to improve at Call of Duty, please make sure you do subscribe with notifications on. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.